Good afternoon, Madam Chair, council members, friends, community members. I'm so glad you're here. I'll be frank, I'm not a person that's just for taxes. I'm kind of, if anybody knows me, they know I'm against taxes, generally speaking. But when I sat down with this year and looked at all the things we need for the sheriff's office, it became abundantly clear to me we weren't going to be able to have it. And I know these things are important, and I know that the council, you know these things are important too. But when we got together with our group and we talked about what's important for us all, we all came to the same agreement. We all kept our words. And you know I've had my difficulty with some people here, right, throughout the council and with the executive. I'll be frank about it, right? But we all kept our words. We've all been truthful. We've all been honest about what's going on. So I'm going to tell you the reason why I decided with my undersheriff that we would be a part of this. And I want you all to make no mistake. We did the heavy lifting for this. Everything that had to be done pretty much had to come from our office. The application, we had a team together that worked hours and hours and hours on it to put it together, to turn it into the Criminal Justice Training Commission. We have more processes to do. We're going to have things we need to correct and fix, and we'll be doing that as we move along. But just so that you know some of the things that are really important to me, it's very important that we have body-worn cameras in the jail. And I know it's an expense for people, and they look at it and say, oh, $1 million. Let me just say this. Last year in our jail, 3 people died. I'm not saying that we had any culpability there at all, but we didn't have a camera to show what we did to save their lives, or try to save their lives, right? That causes civil litigation. $1 million is nothing compared to what might happen if somebody says we did something wrong and we don't have proof to show that we didn't do anything wrong. We have great men and women that work there, and I have complete confidence in them that they do the right things, but we need to have that. We also need to have cameras there so that we can show that if inmate or somebody like that misbehaves, we can show this is what happened, this precluded any actions taken by the deputies there in corrections. Then, of course, with all that comes an evidence technology unit. You have to be able to pull up all these videos and come up with policies and procedures about the videos, when you can use them, when not to use them, and be able to be transparent and turn them over to the community when they want to see, which I want to do, to be transparent as possible. And we already talked about earlier about the hiring incentives. It's very important that Pierce County Sheriff's Office has a hiring incentive for deputies on the law enforcement side. And on the corrections side, we have agencies around here that are offering sign-on bonuses for $50,000. It makes it very hard to compete with those agencies that do that. We do it because the Pierce County Sheriff's Office is a unique place to work and a great place to work. But at the bottom, at the end of the day, people want to buy houses for their family, and they're going to go sometimes to where the money is, right? So we want to be able to have that incentive to have them join us too. We have a SWAT vehicle that we use that's no longer even used anywhere in the world, I don't believe. You can't even find parts for it. So we need a SWAT vehicle, a new SWAT vehicle. It takes 2 SWAT vehicles, right, Councilmember Herrera? It takes 2 SWAT vehicles to be able to do your job out there. If you have a barricaded person in a house or in a vehicle, you need 2 SWAT vehicles. And this SWAT vehicle that we're going to get will be able to stop rifle rounds. It won't just keep deputies safe, but it will also keep the community safe if we have to go in and rescue somebody that's under a hail of bullets, a hail of fire. Just a couple of months ago, I think it was October, there was a suspect on South Hill, which is where we police at, who shot a rifle off over 130 times, right? So we need to be able to have equipment like that to go in and even save the suspect if we can. So, and then lastly, and this was completely foreign to me, I worked in Seattle for 33 years before I became the sheriff here, and we all had protective masks. We call them PMASks. We all had them. But when I got here, I found out that we don't have them for Pierce County Sheriff deputies. So if there's what we call a dirty bomb or anything like that goes off, they have no respiratory protection at all. And so that's a big safety issue that it's important to me to make sure that we protect the men and women so that they can protect you all out there in the communities. So like I said when I first started here, I'm not one just to willy-nilly raise taxes And even though some people might say it's only 1/10 of 1%, 1/10 of 1% is still a tax that I'm not just good with, just adding it to add it. But in this situation, in this circumstances, this is the right thing to do. These investments that we have with these are the first things we're going to have. There are other things that we need for the sheriff's office that we'll be able to purchase with these funds in the future. So I just want to tell you all that I'm for this ordinance. I appreciate all the work that all the group put together on it. Everybody was sincere. We hashed everything out, and before we put anything forward to you, the council, we made sure we all agreed upon it. And I just think you can tell that because we're all here today. And I want to give my opportunity for the undersheriff to say anything if you need to say something, because she knows all the nuts and bolts about this stuff.
Council Chair, Council Member Cindy Fajardo, Undersheriff for Pierce County Sheriff. It was a very arduous process to get the application. I know I'm not as tall as most people. Thank you. Appreciate that. But the contribution is great to the community. And I can tell you that the sheriff and I had very frank conversations about whether or not to support going forward with the House Bill 2015 application for the sales tax and also for the grant. There were a lot of changes that had to be made in the sheriff's office to be able to qualify for this grant, this sales tax. We're very hopeful that we'll be the first agency that gets a letter with no negative input, that we clear 100%, because we've put so much work into being very, very mindful of the application process. But to also talk about what the Law and Justice Committee members, the cooperation that took place. Every single one of our projects touches another one of the agencies or departments within that Law and Justice Committee. The improvements that's going to be made in the technology of the link system affects my detectives, my deputies significantly. That's where they get a lot of their information for their investigations and things that they need to be able to do their job. So to see that improvement and see the crossover between each one of the Law and Justice Committees is enormous. And frankly, Pierce County could not afford to do it. And we would be stuck with, potentially going back to paper subpoenas if we weren't able to get a system that was going to be in time and being able to progress. So it was an amazing experience getting to know the challenges of each one of the other departments in the Law and Justice group. And there was no negative discussion about the needs of the others. We frankly realized what we need to actually protect the citizens. And this goes back to the community. Our efficiency in being able to do our job reflects what the community gets from service for us. So fingers crossed that all goes well and we'll get an extra $100,000 a month with no penalties, and that's the goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.